This is WNEP TV 16, the news station. Now, Nolan Johannes, Karen Harch, Jack Ruland in Skycam 16, meteorologist Tom Clark with his backyard forecast, and Tim Carlson Sports. This is Newswatch 16.
Good evening. Striking teachers in the St. Clair School District are going back to work on Monday. The teachers in the Schuylkill County area walked off the job last Friday. Their dispute with the school board is still not settled, but today they voted to bring in a third party to try to help reach an agreement. In the meantime, the teachers say they'll go back to work on Monday. And in Lackawanna County, a teacher's strike has been prevented in the Riverside School District. Teachers in the district that serves Taylor and Music had threatened to walk off the job on Friday morning. But this afternoon, they voted to accept the latest contract offer from the board. It calls for a $2,000 raise each year for the next 3 years. Although many of the teachers say they're not exactly happy with that offer, they did accept, and there will be no strike in the Riverside School District. Overweight trucks, garbage trucks, are still traveling on our highways 6 days after the state promised to get the heavy trucks off the road. Newswatch 16's Bob Reynolds has been investigating the trash haulers, and he'll have that report in just a few moments. And also, he's with us now in the newsroom. So, Bob, if you will, tell us what's happened.
Okay, Nolan. Well, a spokesman for the state police in Harrisburg didn't have an answer to that question this afternoon, but it's obvious that the illegal loads will continue to roll. This truck is over 1,000 pounds too heavy to legally travel on state roads. It was stopped and weighed in Pittston Township by state crews after traveling 90 miles from the Philadelphia area. The rig is carrying garbage, which is headed for landfill in Lackawanna County. The Philadelphia area is running out of landfill space. Even the man who drove the rig knows that running overweight can be dangerous.
These tires on these trailers, I mean, you pull too much weight, you got too much weight on your rear axles, and you're just going up the road blowing tires left and right. And, you know, that's dangerous in itself there.
Trucker Tom Brudnicki says the overweight trash truck problem is a lot worse than some people believe. That's because some companies know the rigs are overweight from the start.
Yeah, ask the weight, what the weight is on it, they say you're okay, get going. So what are you going to do?
State police ticketed Tom Brudnicki for his overloaded rig, but despite Harrisburg's promise last week to turn any overweight trash truck around, troopers allowed Brudnicki's truck to continue on Interstate 81. The same highway PennDOT says will be damaged by overloaded trucks. State crews responsible for allowing Brudnicki to continue referred all my questions to their bosses in Harrisburg. And again, a state police spokesman in Harrisburg really couldn't tell me why the overweight truck wasn't forced to go back to its company in Montgomery County, that's in the Philadelphia area. That trip can be made on the Pennsylvania Turnpike, which allows the greater loads. Nolan?
Okay, Bob, thank you. We have word from Ohio tonight that the Vin Fizz had to make a crash landing today. Pilot Jim Lloyd from New York, who was flying the recreation of a 1911 plane that made the first cross-country flight, was not hurt today when high winds forced him to try a landing on a golf course in Akron, Ohio. Lloyd is hoping to get the broken parts of the Vin Fizz fixed and take off tomorrow for Mansfield. Lloyd tells Newswatch 16 tonight the first pilot, 75 years ago, Cal Rogers, crashed 19 times on his way to California. Next, we'll be taking you back to the Bloomsburg Fair and Karen Harch.
Nolan, it's another big day here in Bloomsburg. Take a look at this crowd that's assembled here. Yeah! When we come back, we'll check out the 4-H'ers here at the fair and see what the future holds for those young farmers when Newswatch 16 continues.
Chemical preservatives, no artificial sweeteners, no caffeine. Very, very, very fine. Here's to your health.
March is the way to travel, by land, sea, or air, for business or pleasure. Whether on daily passenger trips to places like Atlantic City, flights to vacation getaways, luxury cruises to tropical paradises. And these specials, a week at Walt Disney World and Epcot Center, and a Christmas weekend with superb seats for the Nutcracker and Radio City's Christmas Spectacular. With 80 years of service, March Travel is with you or your business all the way.
Well, there hasn't been much sunshine at the Bloomsburg Fair so far this week. It looks like the sunshine is all in the smiles of the crowds. Let's find out if there's any sunshine in those smiles now as we go to Karen Harch, standing by. Karen?
Here I am. Yeah, despite the clouds, Nolan, there are a lot of people here at the Bloomsburg Fair. Take a look at this. Fair officials estimate about 40,000 people here today. Now, they consider that a slow day. 40,000 is a lot of people, but compared to yesterday, I guess it is slow. Yesterday, they set an all-time high for a Wednesday here at the fair, a record over 91,000 people. That's a record crowd for a weekday here at the Bloomsburg Fair. And it's easy to understand when you look at these pictures of the parking lot taken yesterday from Skycam 16. Tons and tons of cars arriving at the fair, and of course, a lot of people in those cars.
The roar of 200 motorcycles can be heard around here, and that's a nice sound to some business people staying at the Woodlands Inn in Luzerne County. The members of the International Harley-Davidson Dresser and Touring Association are holding their twice-yearly convention here. The group will be here through Saturday and is taking daily tours of our area. Today, they went to Harvey's Lake. Tomorrow, Berwick. Saturday, Scranton and Steamtown, USA. Well, the entire county of Luzerne is celebrating. It's the county's 200th birthday, and that celebration continues tonight. Newswatch 16's Mark Davis is live at the new Kirby Center in Wilkes-Barre to fill us in on what's happening tonight. Mark?
Well, Nolan, beginning in just about an hour from now, the Kirby Center plays host to the Glenn Miller Orchestra. It's a bicentennial event put together by the Bicentennial Committee celebrating the 200th birthday of Luzerne County. And it's a day that's capped off and it's been filled with celebration. Luzerne County's 200th birthday party was a patriotic one, complete with a giant flag raised from several second-floor windows and one which now covers part of the courthouse. For nearly an hour, several hundred people joined in the outdoor celebration of a county formed 200 years ago today. Pieces of the memorabilia from this year's bicentennial celebration will be buried in a time capsule that will be opened 100 years from today. Now, no birthday party would be complete without a birthday cake. And the first piece of cake was cut with a piece of county history, a 125-year-old sword. Now, tonight is not the end of the birthday bash because it continues for several more days. There's a whole series of events planned tomorrow at the Luzerne County Courthouse, complete with various tours and also some music. And then the cap-off of the big weekend will be Saturday morning at 11 with a big bicentennial parade through the streets of downtown Wilkes-Barre. 3 days celebrating 200 years of Luzerne County history. I'm Mark Davis, Newswatch 16, live at the Kirby Center in downtown Wilkes-Barre. Nolan?
Okay, Mark, thank you. And next, we'll be returning to the Bloomsburg Fair, where meteorologist Tom Clark will be looking for some sunshine, hopefully for the remaining days of the fair. We'll tell you right now that you're watching Newswatch 16 on WNEP-TV, and we're proud to serve Clark Summit in all of Lackawanna County.
Mom, I made the hockey team. Great.
Dear Jessica, sorry, but I was called back to the office. Hope you made the hockey team. I left your favorite, Mayor's bread. Other stuff in fridge. Love, Mom.
Good texture, good taste, and most of all, good feelings. From Mayor's, the baker of breads.
This is my new Ford V8 pickup. It has multi-port fuel injection for more horsepower than your Chevy V8.
Gee, Chevy didn't tell me that.
And you can't compare just base price. My Ford includes standard equipment like power steering, power brakes, a radio. That costs extra on a Chevy.
Chevy didn't tell me that.
And this special value model gave me $672 worth of added features free.
Free? Wow.
Yeah, Ford's been America's best-selling pickup for 9 straight years. Did Chevy tell you that?
2.9 financing or up to $750 cash back on trucks at your Quality Plus Ford dealer.
You know, you couldn't help but wake up this morning if you heard the Yawn Patrol on a Bloomsburg radio station. Wait till you see this. The Yawn Patrol is made up of disc jockeys Joe Daniels and Scott Richards. They're on WHLM radio every Thursday morning, but on this Thursday morning, the DJs did their thing live from the top of the Dutch Wheel, the largest amusement ride here at the Bloomsburg Fair. And boy, you wouldn't get me up there for 2 hours, no way. Well, Tom Clark, the clouds are here, and everyone's wondering if they'll need the umbrella tonight.
I would keep it handy, Karen. There have been a few light showers that have come through the fair in the past hour, but It is persisting, the gray skies overhead, and so we're going to be talking about some more rain heading our way. It was 85 degrees in Pittsburgh this afternoon, and some of that warm air is going to get even closer over the next couple of days. Let's check in with our temperatures now, and boy, it's cool at the fair this evening. Kind of glad I have this jacket on. Readings in the 60s across the area. And to be more precise, we have a backyard temperature of 65. The humidity, 71%, kind of a damp day. The wind, southwest at 5, and the barometer at 30.04, and it's falling off just a bit. Range and temp today, 67 and 56. Now, 89 was the record high set way back in 1908. The pollen count, again today, 0. And just a tremendous crowd here this afternoon and this evening, despite the threatening skies. I'm going to show you a satellite view that's coming up next. We are close to the boundary between some cool air and some hot air. Temperatures close to 90 today across Ohio and Indiana. Now that warm front is edging up closer towards us, and you can see some breaks in the clouds in western PA, and I think we will have that here tomorrow. And boy, just a little bit of sun tomorrow will make the temperature soar well into the 70s. And I do think that will happen here tomorrow. A very tricky week forecasting. That front out to the west, some very strong winds, a monster of a storm system in the northern plains, and it will have some effect on our weather as we head through the weekend. But, however, the boundary between the cool and the hot air is going to remain close by through Saturday, and so I do suspect more rain is heading our way over the next couple of days. So, the forecast of the sunrise and sunset times, and that will be at 6:55. Well, that's not really a forecast. We know that's going to happen. Sunset, 6:55. 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. Now, tonight, a couple of showers coming through this evening. There will be some patches of fog and quite a bit of haze overhead tonight. We had quite a bit of haze on the ride down in Skycam today. 62 the low tonight. Now, tomorrow, the clouds will break up a bit. We'll have some sunshine, and it should be about 78 in Avoca. I think the low 80s here at the fair. So a big change from what we're having this evening. A shower cannot be ruled out in the afternoon tomorrow. Cloudy skies, mostly cloudy on Saturday. The front nearby. Again, the risk of some showers on Saturday, 76 for the high temperature, and then some showers on Sunday, 75 degrees. So we'll have more tonight at 11, and I'll tell you if or not that was a tornado down there in Berwick. The report is just in, and we'll have that tonight at 11.
Okay, Tom, thank you. The winners of last week's Newswatch 16 news game are not only alert very early in the morning, they're really up on their news and current events. These seniors at Wyoming Area High School in Exeter scored the highest as a class in our weekly quiz. Instructor Steve Harmanos teaches this first period Great Issues class. It begins at 8 a.m. and each week questions are sent to our schools based on this newscast and on ABC's World News Tonight. Nice going, Wyoming Area, and runners-up last week from Sacred Heart. Coming up, Tim Carlson with Penn State coach Joe Paterno talking about this week's game with East Carolina, plus our sports star of the week, who continues to space out opponents. The Sports Watch is next.
Can you get big year-end savings on a new Nissan hardbody? Your Nissan dealer says yes. With your choice of 14 great models, king cabs, long beds, 4x4s, and V6s. Yes. With 5.7% financing or $500 cash back on every model. Yes. With prices starting at $63.99. All you have to do is ask, and your Nissan dealer says yes. But don't wait. Get big savings at your Central Pennsylvania Nissan dealer today.
Hi, this is Millie. You're not going to believe the bargains I just got at Acme. Lancaster brand self-basting turkey breasts for $1.88 a pound. Chiquita golden ripe bananas at 3 pounds for $1. Half gallons of Turkey Hill ice cream are only $1.99 each. And a package of 10 contact cold capsules or caplets for $2. Free with a manufacturer's $2.25 rebate. Can you believe these Acme prices? You know a great bargain when you see one.
Well, it's Thursday, and that means it's time for the Sports Star of the Week. Tim Carlson is here live at the Bloomsburg Fair, perched up above the fairgrounds. Tim?
Well, you know what? I just want to mention one thing. You know, David Copperfield is going to have his show going on. He's a magician back here at the grandstand, and I'm hoping that maybe he'll go to Baltimore and turn the Orioles into winners. Okay, our Sports Star this week has meant a lot to the success of the Myers High School football team this year. Junior running back Rajib Ishmael, the Wyoming Valley Conference leader in rushing and scoring, came up with another exceptional performance this past week against Dallas. John Evans has more on this week's Sports Star.
Rajib Ishmael's nickname is Rocket, and most of the teams in the Wyoming Valley Conference who have played against him would agree with that title. He burned the Dallas defense for 203 yards last week while scoring 4 times. He scored twice as many touchdowns than any other player in the conference this year. And when you ask Rajib why he puts up the big stats week after week, he's very willing to share the spotlight.
We had some great blocking by the line, and after the game when they told us had 203 yards, I was just kind of expected it because the linemen blocked their butts off this week.
He can explode in any one play and score a touchdown. So just a matter of selecting the right play and having our linemen hold their block for a second or two while he can go the distance. He's a home run hitter.
Coach Gorham feels that Ishmael, who's just a junior, can be one of the most successful backs to come out of the Myers program when he's done. That's because, along with his natural talent, Rocket goes by a strong work ethic both on and off the field.
I just look at it as do what you're supposed to do, and if you do what you're supposed to do, good things will happen.
Rajib Ishmael, this week's Sports Star of the Week. John Evans, Sports Watch 16.
Well, let's continue to talk about football. And Penn State, they'll be back at Beaver Stadium for the first of 4 home games in a row. They'll be taking on East Carolina, an opponent that many people think will be easy pickings. But what can I tell you? In last year's game, the Pirates gave Penn State all they could handle. In fact, East Carolina rolled up a season-high 385 total yards in a game that Penn State finally won 17-10. Since that loss to Penn State, the Pirates have dropped 11 more in a row. So you might figure that Penn State is taking this team lightly. You can figure that, but head coach Joe Paterno doesn't have that attitude at all.
All I have to do is think back a couple of years ago, Cincinnati and Penn State, when Cincinnati came in here and beat us. So again, I've tried to get our squad not to worry about the other guys, but to worry about ourselves. That we've got to try to work to get better every day in practice. If we do that, pay attention to details, keep our heads on straight, then we'll play well on a particular Saturday.
That Penn State-East Carolina game this Saturday is a 1:30 start, and of course we'll have the complete game story this Saturday night on Sports Watch 16. Some important baseball games this afternoon, and very quickly, let's check the scores. Win number 100 for the Mets as they beat the Cubs 6-5. If the Astros win this one this afternoon, they clinch the NL West. They're leading right now. Cincy beat Atlanta 6-4. In the American League, Kansas City over Minnesota 8-1. And here at the Bloomsburg Fair, I want to remind you the Demolition Derby is tomorrow at 12:30. And Karen, maybe you ought to enter that. I know how you drive around on the highway.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. I don't even think magic could help Baltimore this year. No way. When we come back, Newswatch 16's Mike Stevens will introduce us to a man who's as much a part of this fair as candy apples and popcorn when Newswatch 16 continues.
Racing program.
It's the grand opening of the new Hills store in West Hazelton. Hills is different, with low discount prices every day. One of the biggest selections of quality fashions for the family anywhere. More sizes, more colors, more styles than any store we know. A brand new Hills. Grand opening Monday, September 29th in the Valmont Plaza. And there's no risk to shopping at Hills. Find a lower advertised price, bring in the ad. We'll match it.
Introducing Wendy's new Big Classic hamburger.
This is the good stuff.
The soft Kaiser bun, the fat tomatoes.
This is the good stuff.
The fresh toppings, the beef.
This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
One bite, one taste, one look, you'll see. This is the one the burgers want to be. This is the good stuff.
Wendy's new Big Classic.
Can't get enough. This is the good stuff.
Finally, last night, Mike Stevens spent some time with an extremely tall clown here at the Bloomsburg Fair. Well, tonight, Mike introduces us to a man on the other end of the tape measure. Let's all meet Shorty, the program seller, a guy Mike Stevens found on the Pennsylvania Road here at the Bloomsburg Fair.
You can't tell the winners from the losers on the racetrack without a program, and I found just where to get one. See that fella down there? Shorty Steiner is his name, and he's been coming here from his Bloomsburg home long enough to remember a wooden grandstand and programs that cost a dime.
I greet the people that come back year after year. Some people say, you've been here for 60 years. I said, yes, sir. And it's great to see the old people come back and greet you. Right, it's nice to see you.
Long, long time.
Long time. We graduated in 1936. I did.
Well, you were a little bit younger.
It's pretty clear that Shorty has a lot of friends. It's tough to dislike someone who wears bananas on his hat.
You have to have flash to sell anything. And with this banana hat, that's 25 years old. Rain or shine, the banana doesn't get wet.
When Shorty gets rolling, there's almost no stopping him. The dollar bills and programs change hands in the wink of an eye. And then he's on to the next challenge. Pretty good action for a guy pushing 74.
I'm going to stay as long as the Lord up there gives me my help. I'll be on here as long as I can take it. That's my hobby of going out, make my own self cheerful, keeping young that way. You cannot sit still and keep young.
You've got to have a program to tell the winners on the racetrack, but Shorty Steiner stands out on his own. I'm Mike Stevens, Newswatch 16 on the Pennsylvania Road at the Bloomsburg Fair.
I'll tell you, I'll fall for a guy wearing bananas on his hat any day. And that's it for now from the Bloomsburg Fair. Nolan?
Okay, Karen, sticky buns, chocolate-covered blueberries. What'll it be tonight?
Geez, I better write all this down, Nolan. How about a sausage and pepper sandwich? They're good.
All right. Thanks, Karen. And that is Newswatch 16 for tonight. Be sure to join us tonight on the update when we'll have the story on why Greyhound is pulling 70 jobs out of our area. World News Tonight is next. For the team, including the Bloomsburg crew, thank you for joining us. We'll see you on the update.